Hey everybody, it's Luke over at Galaxy Tech Review, and today I've got a product from New Mobile. This is their brand new B40 5G, and this has dual displays, one obviously on the front and then a smaller OLED display on the back that allows you to do certain actions like use your rear camera as a selfie camera. You can use this as a compass. You can get notifications, phone calls, and other things as well from what they're calling the Vista display on the rear of the phone. We're going to dig into this now, and I'll be right back. Let's start off with some basic specs of the new B45G. Now, what we've got here is an Android 15 phone. Our main screen is going to be a 6.7-inch AMOLED Full HD display at 2400 by 1080. And you're going to have that secondary Vista display at 1.58 inches, also AMOLED. You do have a Dimensity 7025 octa-core CPU. Rear camera is 64 megapixels with a 2 megapixel macro camera. A front camera of 16 megapixels. You do have 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of ROM, and an internal battery of 5,000 milliamps with a charging of 33 watts. Okay, so let's take a look at what comes in the box with the B45G. Now, we do get a charger in the box. This supports up to 33 watts of charging, but of course the charger that they give you here is a 30-watt charger, but they do include it in the box. Standard AC to USB Type-C charge brick, and it is included, which a lot of manufacturers don't do anymore. So you will get up to 33 watts of charging speed with the B45G. We do get a SIM removal tool, and of course we do also get a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable for having this being charged or connected to a PC or a laptop, something like that. Underneath, we do get some documentation here. We also get something which a lot of manufacturers don't throw in either, is a free case. So you get a free case with this as well. This is nice to have as an extra. And then, of course, we get some New Mobile stickers and a quick start guide as well. Moving the rest of this out of the way, of course, we have the phone itself, and this is where we'll get our first look at the B45G. Now, this is an interesting phone from them because they've done phones almost exactly like this in the past. This has evolved a little bit. You can see that we do have a single firing speaker on the bottom, USB Type-C. We do have our SIM card tray here as well as our main microphone. So that is going to be pretty much the same design as we had last year. You do have your volume rocker and power on the right-hand side. You do have a secondary microphone at the top, and nothing on the other side. Now on the back, this is where it starts to get interesting. We do have that 1.58-inch AMOLED display, which they're calling the Vista display. We do get a 64 megapixel camera and a 2 megapixel macro camera. On the front, we do get a 16 megapixel selfie camera as well. This is powered by Android 15, and again, I'll have the full specs up here so that you guys can check them out. And if I miss anything, you can come back and check it out at this point in the video. Now, this comes unlocked from the factory, so you should be able to use this with pretty much most carriers. They will support most carriers like T-Mobile. There are a few that they do not support, so do check their website just to make sure that your carrier is supported. The only other thing that I could find that this really doesn't have is wireless charging and NFC. So if you use Tap to Pay, you're not going to see NFC on this particular phone. But this is the unboxing of the B45G from New Mobile. Okay, so I've had this for a while and I've been able to set it up. The first impressions are that this is a fairly clean install of Android 15. As you can see, you're gonna have a lot of Google apps here. The only one that really sticks out is this new Help app in the middle here. You can remove that if you want to from your home screen, but you cannot uninstall it. It is baked in to their image of Android. But as you can see, other than a few other test apps that I've added here, that this is a very clean image of Android 15 and no problems with that at all. In fact, if we go into settings here, we can double check to see what we've got going on under the hood in system. So let's take a quick look at that here. If we look at system updates, you will see that it is updated to Android 15. There is no word on whether this will be Android 16 or 17 compatible. You can see that we do have 8 gigs of RAM, but we can extend that RAM with virtual RAM as well. If you need to, you can do that. With this particular phone, but 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage is very nice. Now here are the settings for the Vista display. This is that display on the back side. You have a dial selection, how long you want the screen to time out, your backlight level, display with the main screen, display when turning the phone over, and double tap to wake or shut down, and of course displaying apps notifications so you can get those at a glance on the back. If we take a look at the dial selection here, they've got about 10 different dials that you can use here, and you can pick the one that you like the best. We'll show you that in just a few moments. We also have something called DuraSpeed here, and this is basically helping boost the foreground apps by restricting the background access of apps running in the background. But other than that, it is pretty much just your basic Android 15 setup here. We have 230 gigabytes free out of 256, pretty much out of the box with the few apps that I added as well. Okay, so let's look at that Vista display. It is to the right of the cameras. I can double tap it to turn it on. I can long press this, and then I can, select any of them that we saw in the application, the settings app, and we can swipe through them. I quite like this one for nighttime, but there are several different ones that you can choose from, and they are varying in how they look. So you'll be able to find something that will work for you. I like this one because it's just simple and to the point. If I do long press again, I've got this here. It's got my date, my time, my battery life. And if we swipe through, we can swipe through different things like music controls. We can swipe through again for camera, and we can use the rear camera, the 64 megapixel camera, to take photos using that higher resolution camera on the back. So that's pretty nice to be able to have that option to use the higher resolution and use that screen, that smaller screen, as your viewfinder for that as well. Now, swiping up will get you out of this. So just a second, I will swipe up and we'll be able to get out of this as well. So we can also do a few other things like app notifications. You have a built-in compass as well. That's kind of an app for this Vista display, and other things as well, taking phone calls, things like that. So when you have this on its face, or maybe when you're at night, when you're sleeping, you will have something like this without having to look at the larger screen. You can have this like this, and it's going to be less intrusive, but still give you access to that information. You have a nice and fast in-display thumb or fingerprint scanner. Works very quickly, very responsive. I have no issues with the fingerprint scanner working on this or anything like that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, and I've got a few games and a few apps that we'll go over, is the cameras on the back. We do have a 64 megapixel camera and a 2 megapixel shooter on the back for macro shots. So let's take a closer look at the kind of shots that I got, and also the video from the front and the rear, so that you can see out of the box exactly the quality of this and the microphones for this as well. Start out with a few still photos with the 64 megapixel camera. You can see here, sunny day, no problems with details on this. Works very, very well. I don't have too many issues with that 64 megapixel. With still photos, it does have a 2x zoom on it and a 4x digital zoom. So we'll take a look at the 2x zoom here. And as you can see, we've got a good amount of detail. No problems with that. If we do the digital zoom, of course, we're going to lose some of those details as we go through these. But overall, a pretty decent job with the 64 megapixel rear sensor. Here's another shot of some houses. This is at 1x on the 64 megapixel sensor. You can see that we've got pretty good detail here. No problems whatsoever with this. Again, this is within that mid-range Android phone and what I'd suspect. If you take a look at the 2x, you can see that we still retain a little bit of the detail here, most of the detail here. So the 2x isn't so bad. It's when you start to get into that 4x digital range, you can see that things get a little bit more distorted. You still have an okay picture, but I probably wouldn't use this more than 2x myself.
Okay, so this is the video of the NuMobile B40 5G. This is the rear camera sensor, and this will give you an idea of what it looks like on default settings and what the microphone sounds like when using the B40 5G from NuMobile. This is a test of the NuMobile's B40 5G's front camera video to let you know exactly how it looks and how it sounds on the front camera of the B40 Pro 5G.
So the microphones are very good, as you saw in the samples here. I didn't have any issues with the microphones. The little bit of hitching in the video, the video caps out at about 2K resolution for the rear cameras, so no 4K resolution, and 1080p on the front. So that's just to give you an idea. Now for Geekbench scores here, we have that Dimensity 7025. You get a single core score of 935 and a multi-core score of 2269. Again, mid-range type of expected performance out of the B40 5G. It's not going to break any speed barriers, but then again, it's not going to be so slow that it's not going to be able to handle multiple games, apps, everything open at once with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, as you'll see in just a moment. Here's Subway Surfers, a lightweight game, no problems as expected on gameplay. Here's Asphalt Legends, a little bit more of a larger download and still no issues. Now, I do want to mention that this only has one speaker, a single downfiring speaker at the bottom, but that speaker does a very good job with sound. You could hear the sound was very good here, even though it's not going to be in stereo because you don't get a top speaker. Doesn't mean that it's bad performing as far as the sound goes. Now, another thing that is great about this AMOLED display being 120 hertz, you're going to get a nice picture on this, no matter what kind of media you're playing. You can see you've got nice colors here. The screen is gorgeous. It's not an issue. Where there is an issue is copy protected content because of its Widevine certification. You can only play from services like Netflix or Vudu or places like that in SD only. But the display is not the fault of that. It's the fact that it's not Widevine certified correctly or at a level that'll allow you to play HD content from DRM type of services. But that limitation is not there for, say, YouTube, where you can go and you can crank this up with HDR, 60 frames a second. You can see that I just put it on 4K, 60 frames a second in HDR, and we'll take a look at how this looks and sounds as well. So no problems with other apps like YouTube or anything like that. We can crank the resolutions up and it looks really, really good on this 6.7 OLED display. Now, the things that I do really like about this, again, are battery life, a 5,000 milliamp battery. You do get 33 watt recharge, so you're not gonna have to wait too long to have, your phone topped off with a battery. The battery life has shown to be pretty good on this particular phone. And of course, that Vista display on the back makes everything a little bit different than most of your traditional mid-range smartphones. Having that on the back to quickly glance at information when I need it, especially maybe if you're in bed or something like that and you don't even want to pick your phone up, or maybe you're like making dinner or you're cooking or you're working on something and you don't want to pick up your phone. You've got all of these options with that Vista display to be able to check your notifications, take phone calls, the time, your battery level, using the Compass app, using the rear Vista display as a camera or a selfie camera. So you can use that higher 64 megapixel shooter as a selfie camera is nice as well. Overall, I had a really nice time testing out the Numobile B40 5G. If you're looking for a mid-range smartphone, you might want to check this one out. This was Luke from Galaxy Tech Review. I hope that you enjoyed my review, and I'll check you guys out on the next one.